Alcohol has been used for thousands of years, and many of us drink it today. Along with this, caffeine has been consumed for thousands of years, present in various forms, like coffee. While most of us drink it separately, there are a lot of us who like alcohol and caffeine together. While they both do different things, when consumed together, the effects are very interesting. So let's talk about it. So first, let's talk about alcohol at a glance. Just a very bare bones explanation. So alcohol is what's known as a GABA receptor agonist. So what does that mean? So we have this thing called the GABA receptor that a lot of things bind to, like Xanax, alcohol, sleeping pills, stuff like that. This is a central nervous system depressant. So what does that mean? Well, when you consume alcohol, a lot of stuff happens, especially if you consume a lot of slurred speech, ataxia, that wobble walking, impaired motor and sensory skills, sedation, uninhibited behavior. A lot of these effects result from the GABA receptor binding and other things going on with alcohol. But most of us, all of us, are aware of at least one of these things. Alcohol also increases this molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is responsible for things like sleep, relaxation, decreased arousal. Now, there's more complex processes here that involve adenosine and other things, but this is what adenosine can do in a nutshell. And both of these sides of alcohol, as well as other things, contribute to its very familiar effects on the human body. Much of this we've experienced personally. Then we have caffeine, an adenosine receptor antagonist. There's a lot of theories as to why caffeine works. So here, let me just erase these. You have adenosine right here and caffeine right here. Normally, adenosine would bind to this receptor, causing that sleepiness and things like that. In this case, we have caffeine that kind of beats out adenosine for its spot. This results in focus, increased energy, euphoria, anxiety. Those of us who consume a lot of caffeine, you might not notice the euphoria, but if you are a heavy caffeine user, you might wake up feeling grumpy, low mood, low energy, because you don't have the caffeine that your body needs. And when you take it, you have that increased mood, that increased sense of well-being. That's the euphoria taking effect. And I just mentioned, this adenosine normally binds, increasing that sleepiness. But in this case, caffeine will bind, decreasing that sleepiness and increasing that stimulation. This is just one of the theories that it connects and offers a completely different effect than adenosine. Antagonism meaning it acts against that receptor, kind of beats out adenosine for its place. So when you think about alcohol and caffeine, this could be an ideal situation. You would really want to increase the wanted side effects and decrease the unwanted side effects. It seems like because these two molecules operate at different sides of the spectrum, this could happen. But what are the wanted side effects? Well, caffeine, focus, energy, euphoria. For alcohol, relaxation, sensory impairment, slight sensory impairment, that feel-good feeling. The unwanted side effects of caffeine, anxiety, the jitters, paranoia, sleep disruption. The unwanted side effects of alcohol, sleep, reckless behavior, ataxia. Ideally, it seems like these drugs would eliminate the unwanted effects of each other because the way they operate. But is this the case? So what's interesting about caffeinated alcoholic beverages is the potentially harmful effect it could have on the choices you make in the body. So the research that I saw shows that you are 3 times more likely to be highly intoxicated if you consume caffeine and alcohol at the same time, especially if you're drinking it a lot. Again, caffeine and alcohol is not this terribly dangerous thing. A lot of this has to do with the potentials. There's a couple studies that I read. You do have a stronger desire to drink, and this is where this comes in. So these beverages or these combinations can increase the amount of alcohol consumed. Why? You don't feel as drunk. In other words, you don't feel the side effects of alcohol as much. So your body's like, hey, we can drink a lot more than what we're drinking. Now, this can be dangerous Again, the potentials. Increased alcohol consumption can lead to things like alcohol poisoning, blackouts, and all sorts of other stuff that you don't want. So if you're continually consuming caffeine and alcohol together in a beverage, you're more likely to have alcohol poisoning and all these sort of unwanted effects. Again, caffeinated alcohol beverages aren't terrible. There's the potential for harmful activity and damage to the body. So while these effects seem to be ideal, it's not the best situation, especially if consumed heavily, because it can kind of trick you to think that you're able to consume more alcohol than your body can actually handle. So let's go through the summary and review what we learned. So we talked about alcohol at a glance. It's a GABA receptor agonist. It results in things like slurred speech, sedation, uninhibited behavior. It increases this molecule called adenosine, which can result in sleep, relaxation, and all sorts of other things. We talked about caffeine at a glance. It does action at this adenosine receptor. So it kind of competes for this spot, resulting in focus, euphoria, increased energy, anxiety, decreasing that sleepiness, increasing that stimulation. We then talked about this possibly being an ideal situation, that this seems like these drugs would eliminate the unwanted side effects of each other because they lie on different ends of the spectrum as far as how they affect one another. So I spelled impairment wrong. I am so embarrassed. Okay, it is what it is. People make mistakes. So anyway, is this the case? Is it an ideal combination? Then we closed out talking about some research. The whole idea is that if you're consuming caffeine and alcohol, especially consistently in one sitting, you don't feel the effects of alcohol as much. So you're more likely to be highly intoxicated. You're more likely to get alcohol poisoning, blackout, and all sorts of things that you do not want. Are caffeinated alcoholic beverages dangerous? Not really. It depends on how much you consume. But the whole idea, at least from the research that I saw, is that, again, you're more likely to do these things, right? So if you don't have good drinking habits, combining these two things is not the best thing. So that's all I got. This is a pretty short video. I hope you guys learned a lot. And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll be back soon with another video.